Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is BC. Welcome back to another live. I will be sharing the link soon because the show is starting. So those of you who follow me closer on Facebook and Instagram, hit me up if you're down to come on the show. I'll take live people. It's going to be fun. Also, remember, through the end of the month, anybody who joins the Real Estate Agagi, we're going to pick one random person and give them a free upgrade to Distinguished Agent, right? So if you're looking for some more help, you really need that accountability, right? You really need to sharpen up your skills, which many people do. Join the Agagi. I made that very low barrier, right? Most of the stuff that I do now is high ticket. That's very low barrier to entry. New entrepreneurs, new salespeople, new real estate agents can join. The link is in the description. Additionally, I will be streaming and doing an in-person event next Saturday, right? December 2nd, the 2024 Blueprint. You can find that Eventbrite. Hit me up. I don't think I put the link in the description, but shoot me a message if you want that as well. Okay. So let's begin. What do I mean by stay true to excellence and authenticity? Well, it's simple. I found for myself, speaking from experience, that for a moment there, a while back, I had lost touch with that, right? Because just like many people, when I got into entrepreneurship and real estate, I didn't come from money, and I was so hungry to make money, right? Like I wanted to be the first one in my lineage to crack that code. I wanted to live a life that other people could not live. I wanted to make a lot of money, and I wanted to conquer that. It wasn't about recognition or, oh, I'm so cool. I didn't give a shit about any of that. It was about conquering that mountain, climbing that Everest, right? So when I say make sure that you don't get lost in it, right, is when you arrive and when you're getting there, right? There's two potential paths here. You could potentially lose touch with it, right? Like as an example, all right, let me give you an example. When I bought my Lamborghini, right? When I bought my Lamborghini, it was a goal, right? It was a goal, and I accomplished it, right? I didn't relish in it too much. I wasn't throwing it in people's faces, and it came to a point later on where the day that I decided to sell it is when I hit that crossroads. I knew that moment moving forward, and I had the self-awareness to recognize that. I said, if I keep this car now, it's not about the enjoyment or the goal anymore. It's because I've now wrapped up my identity into it, and I have to be the guy with the Lamborghini, right? And you can fill in the blank with Lamborghini or anything else. I have to be that guy now. That's why I sold it, because I realized I had my fun. I accomplished the goal. We're on to bigger and better things. So when I share those pictures of like 6 years ago, that's a long time ago, man. I conquered that shit a long time ago. We're on to bigger and better. But had I kept it, especially, realizing it, some people don't have the self-awareness, and I'm going to help you with that, right? But had I kept it, it would have been for the clout or for attention or other things. And I would have lost myself in it, because now it starts seeping into your identity and just grabbing you by the balls. And now all these things that you throw onto your identity own you, and you're trapped in a box. And this is why so many people who are successful start struggling mentally with lack of fulfillment, right? Lack of true, we can say, identity, knowing themselves at the lowest degree. So if you stripped away everything, right? Like who would they be? What would be left? And that's why a lot of people don't have those realizations until later, or they go through a ton of, hardships, or they get depressed, or they have these big, big issues. Whereas if you're on the personal development journey and you have the right people helping you, right, you become self-aware quicker, and you can avoid disaster, which is another reason I really, really love working with my students, my close students, is I can see this transformation in them, right? All my coaching members, a lot of them, from that personal development standpoint, they're very self-aware, very self-aware. That's why I love when I do events and other coaches and stuff come to my events. They're like, man, your community's sharp. I'm like, exactly, because we focus on these things a lot, because I know what it can do for people. Right? And I've seen the results in my life. So, and it could be anything, right? Another thing is the whole online thing, right? You have success in a traditional business, you're doing well. And even in the traditional space, this can happen as well. And let me give you some examples. You see people lose touch with that essence. And what I mean by that is this. How many of you guys have ever gone to a restaurant or see a mom and pop shop that you love? Like I can think of so many when I was younger. And to make a long story short, eventually you see them want to grow and expand, And they hit a point eventually, not all of them, but a good majority of them, where it's like they go corporate, they want to grow too quick, the food starts losing quality, and now it's all about the profit and it's not about their food anymore. And then you stop going, because that happened a lot of times with me when I was younger. And I was like, man, every time these guys just want to make more money and get bigger, they lose that thing that brought people there. Exactly. That happens with online people, businesses, and everything else. This is why, again, you have to be very self-aware. And I've caught myself at times maybe chasing the money a little bit, or doing things that are out of character, that aren't excellence and authenticity, because now either you're chasing the dollar, you're chasing the likes and comments, or something else. Now, this requires a person to put their ego and pride to the side. To, number one, like me, admit that they made the mistake, which I have, right? But number two, to be able to make the assessment and then correct it. Because when you make that correction, now you might not get the likes and the follows and so many people buying. You will eventually, but in the moment, right, you won't. You'll win long term, but you'll, in quotes, lose in the short term. And a lot of people aren't willing to do it. A lot of people want that short term gratification or huge win, but they don't realize that that same thing is going to make them lose long term, right? There's always these choices and trade-offs that we have to make. So it's either I'm going to grind and do it right in the short term and win long term, or I'm going to sacrifice everything, right? Maybe get a win in the short term and then lose long term. It's a choice and a decision that you need to make. And I prime people to be long-term focused. I teach them how to keep the eye on the prize and do things correctly to build, to win long-term. Because that's what I'm doing, my students are doing, and I want everybody to do. But it requires so many pieces to that puzzle. It's not just one thing, right? And that close proximity and shoulder to lean on and advice that you guys will get from somebody like me, it's an absolute requirement, just like I've gotten it, and the people before me and the people before them. But a lot of people never put themselves in that position, right? It's at the click of a button, I can learn. No, you can't. Sorry. YouTube and social media has been fantastic to open people's eyes, but is it the same as having somebody helping you? No, it's not. Especially if you're looking for top of the top. Now, I wish I had a close family member that was super wise, like a sage or a top level philosopher that could have taught me this shit. I had to learn this shit the hard way, through experience, having help along the way, but through experience, and getting my ass kicked and making wrong decisions and not knowing things, and having them point out, hey, you're not seeing this, you're not doing this, right? And it's a very humbling process. But a good majority of it were my own realizations, catching things before they happened, or right as it was starting. Oh, I can't do this. Or, oh, I need to make this adjustment. And I'm so grateful for that, for all these things I put myself through, because it puts you in a position now to make those proper assessments. Because as you guys ascend and you get better, right, there's more at stake, right? Me, let's say I lose everything, right? Or I go bankrupt or whatever it is, right? I'm losing a lot more now than I did 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. That's not to say that I couldn't get back there, but again, the stakes are higher, like flying the $40,000 plane versus the $10 million plane, right? You can crash both of them. One of them costs 40 grand, the other one costs 10 million. Big difference there. So as you're upgrading, you need to realize that. That's why the consequences for making the rookie mistake when you're up there are much greater and much graver, because they're supposed to be. Just like if you're a nobody and then you're in the public eye. If you're in the public eye, you're held to a much higher standard. You can't get away with drinking and driving and being stupid and doing dumb shit and acting out of character, because the world's eyes are on you. That's the price that you pay for the fame and the recognition, is you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, and you will be judged and held to that standard. Rightly so. That's what comes with, that's the other side of the coin with fame and recognition, which I love, because then the public can see that just the same shit that I talk here and the person I am is the same person you're going to see in the street. And I have people come up to me even since I moved out here to Miami. I'm surprised how many people recognize me and know me. I go to the gym, I go everywhere. Oh, hey, Brian. It's crazy. And I'm this little speck online compared to these people with millions of followers, right? My whole channel has like 200,000 subs, like 16 million views. That's a drop in the bucket compared to other people. But you see the congruency. I'm not this fake ass motherfucker in real life, and then on camera I play this character. No. Right? Excellence and authenticity, because the excellence part is holding yourself to a higher standard and having people, an environment that holds you to a higher standard, that when you're slipping, they grab you and they say, hey, dude, get your shit together. And they pull you up, right? That is a vital part of this. That's why when you look at my brand, that's one of them. Authenticity, excellence, prestige, right? Tenacity, discipline, many things in my brand. But that's one of them. So like, let's say somebody joins my real estate team or somebody joins my coaching program. They know, okay, this is what I'm stepping into. So they know they're going to have to be very authentic, right? Be held to a high level of excellence, be very disciplined, work hard. Like that's assumed. That's why I know I'll never be the most popular one. And I'm cool with that. I accepted that from day one, and I knew it because this message and what this represents and is never the most popular. It's what people need the most, but it's not the most popular. Let's be very clear about that. And I will never shake or waver from that, ever. No matter what happens, I get deplatformed, I'll come back, like it doesn't matter, right? Because you guys know, those of you who have been around for years, you know, demonetized, Facebook deleted, right? Instagram fucking destroyed. But I'm still not going to get away from that. So when it comes to authenticity and excellence, whether it's your business, your personal life, and your friendships and relationships, right? Anything that you do, even your finances, right? You have to be able to take a step, an objective viewpoint of what you're doing and make an assessment and say, where am I at with this? And what do I really need to do? And then sit with that, right? Write it down, take a moment, sit in silence by yourself and say, what needs to be done about this? And then you strategize and you do something about it. Many of you won't even reach out to me or anybody for help. You won't take a step to invest in yourself. You won't do anything that's necessary for you to grow. So I can't sit here and say I would sympathize with you because you're aware that you have an issue and you're not fixing it. That's a you problem. You're digging your own hole. Why would anybody feel sorry for you? But that's what we expect in this world, to be coddled. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not, dude. Get it together. Get it together. Because if you don't hold yourself to that standard, no one else will. You guys don't have a bunch of people like me running around in your life holding you to a higher standard. You don't. You don't. Your results show that, by the way. And you know, when I looked around and I was like, okay, I'm going to step up as this high level, like dedicated, and there's no one else, that's fine. Then I'll build a community and I'll build the empire for people to come to find that. And that's what I did. Because just like many of you, I couldn't find that around me. I had to be that and embody it and then attract. I wish I had somebody like me working closely with me when I started. I didn't. Right? We're in an era now where, like, I even go back to my YouTube channel. Man, the content I put out years ago, I had to learn that shit on my own. And then people come and get it and they whatever, right? They don't even like it. They don't even leave a comment, right? But they don't know what it took to create that content, all the shit that I had to go through, right? Why? Because it's easily accessible to them. Because they got it at the click of a button. Oh, it must be worthless, right? So if you understood what I just said, this is why there's barriers to entry to leveling up, guys. Because what's given for free and all that, people don't appreciate. Because there was no effort to earn it. Now, that upsets some people, and I'm glad. Because those are the people that have that entitlement. Like, oh, you should just give me everything. It should take a moment for them to look in the mirror and say, man, do I? How come the next guy had to do that and I didn't? Am I even recognizing it? Am I aware of it? You see, so when we talk about self-awareness and growth and maturity as a human being, that's one of those things. No different than somebody emailing me. Like, I don't share it online, right? But I have a ton of people hitting me up and emailing me, asking for stuff, telling me they deserve it. And then if I tell them no, like, I'm not just going to give you stuff for free, they get upset, guys. I have people hitting me up like that, and I have for years. Especially at the peak before I got censored. Oh my God, it was a lot of people every day. And they get mad. So I look at them and say, man, they have a lot of like personal growth to work on. I used to get upset at that. I don't anymore. I really don't. I just say I need to keep representing what I represent and keep doing it and keep giving the message and staying authentic, high level of excellence, and staying congruent with that message. The more I do that, the more I attract the right things, because the vast majority of what I attracted in my life is exactly in line with what I represent. The vast majority. I'm talking about some of the outliers and weird little situations. That's not the majority. That's not the bulk of what I deal with. Right. So if the bulk of what you deal with is despair, negativity, being broke, depression, and all these things, you need to take a look at yourself and say, what am I doing to cause all this? Because it still blows my mind to this day when people tell me they don't have money. And then when I have a conversation with them, I find out they're not even really working. It's like, well, then what are you going to do? That's not a high level of excellence. The one who has a high level of excellence is going to accept where they're at and then work tirelessly to fix it, whether it be internal, external, finances, whatever. You need to get better at conversing. You become a conversationalist, right? And you do whatever it takes. But we need to get real with that, because authenticity and excellence at the highest level, it just is. You don't have to try to do it. We have to try to be fake and be lazy. That takes a lot more effort than being excellent and authentic, believe it or not. And until you flip that polarity, guys, it will feel like you're out of character. You're out of character. You're in an environment and around people that enable you to be lazy and all that. You need to get out of it. But the beauty is you're adults. You can do what you need to do. Meet the people, pay the money, whatever you got to do to get yourself out of that. But will you? That's up to you. All right, cool. All right, guys. So as we're wrapping up, remember, next Saturday, December 2nd, I have the event, the in-person and streamed event. Hit me up because I haven't put the event right here, but you can go to teambcevents.com. Number 2, if you missed it, the Real Estate Agagi, which I launched, if you join, we're giving one random person who joins between now and the end of the month a free upgrade to Distinguished Agent, which is my first tier high ticket coaching, right? So it's a $5,000 offer for free as an upgrade for one person who joins between now and the end of the year. Or sorry, the end of November. The Real Estate Agagi. That's in the description. Okay. Anything else you guys need, hit me up. You want to chat about real brokerage, you're looking to make a change, whatever it is, hit me up. All the links will be in the description. Okay. Salute, guys. We'll see you on the next.